What's up everyone? In the previous video, we deployed our infrastructure or vault and enabled the replication of the VMs and created a recovery plan. If you haven't seen part 1, I will include the link in the description below and I encourage you to see that one first. In part 2, we will run a disaster recovery drill using a PowerShell script based on the recovery plan I created earlier. And once the failover completes successfully, it will use an automation account to deploy the remaining of the resources so my infrastructure could be consistent with what I have in my primary region. So with that said, let's get started. So once our VMs are fully protected with the settings we configured in the last video, let's switch to my Visual Studio Code, and in the repo, let's take a look at the folder called scripts, and let's open the failover reprotect scripts. Here are my parameters where I included the vault subscription, vault resource group name, vault name, primary region, recovery region, source VM resource group. This is where my VMs are right now, which is in East US 2. And take a look at this parameter. Remember I said on the last video that you need a cache storage account in the source region? Then why in my parameters I am asking for the recovery staging and not the source one? Good question. Well, remember that before being able to do a failover, my VMs have been protected and they are using a cache storage account in the source region already in East US 2. In this case, when it comes to this parameter, once I failover, I need to reprotect again from the target region. Therefore, my recovery staging storage account will become a new source region, and then my original source region will become a new target region. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, the first step in the script is get the information of the VMs inside my vault. So I need to set the context for the vault so I can tap inside of it and get those details based on the recovery plan. Now, in order to get the IDs of those VMs, I will do a for each loop and save them into a variable. Next, I will get the primary fabric with the recovery services ASR fabric command that has my primary region on it. I will do the same with the protection container, the recovery fabric, and the recovery container. Then I will also get the details for the protection container mapping. And finally, I will get the RPIs, which stands for replicated protected items, from the primary container. And I will save all of them into a variable to use them later. Next, I will trigger the failover with the start-az recovery services ASR on plan failover job command and call the recovery plan, and also specify the direction, which is primary to recovery. The script will print a status every 30 seconds until it gets succeeded or failed or completed with information. Once the failover completes, I need to commit the failover, so I will commit with the start az recovery services ASR commit failover job command with the recovery plan flag. And it will basically do the same. It will print the status every 30 seconds, which it usually doesn't take that long. Once that's done, I will trigger the reverse replication for the VMs. For that, I need to get the details of the RPIs. So I will do a for each loop to get those IDs and those VMs in my new resource group. And I will also need the VM's disk storage profile. So I will tap into the storage profile OS disk and the data disk in case they have any data disk with the new -az recovery services ASR Azure to Azure disk replication config command. Phew, said that 5 times. And in that command, I will call the cache storage account to be used, which it will be the recovery staging storage account. And finally, I will trigger it by using the update-az recovery services ASR protection direction command and specify this is Azure to Azure replication and call the recovery staging storage account. And that's basically it. One more thing. The most important part of the script, I think, is if you are able to get an output from these commands right here, from line 39 to 49. If you get the correct output, you should be fine when you execute the script. So I would recommend to give it a try before executing the script by just running the variable to see what happens and what's the output you get. So let's go ahead and execute this script, and we will validate the results after it finishes. As you can see in the portal, the failover already started. Now is committing. And now it's enabling the replication. Let's take a look at the recovery plans. Now my VMs are in the target region, as you can see. And if I click here, now I see that my VMs are now enabling protection in the central US location or central US region. Now let's go to my central US resource group. And now I can see a load balancer that got created with the front end IP, the backend pool, health probe. And if I check on the insights blade, there you go. They are green, which means they are accessible and available from the load balancer. Let's check the automation account. Here you can see that it has ran one time successfully. And when checking the output, you can see that it created the load balancer with no issues. I will pause the video now until the VMs are fully protected so I can trigger the failback and validate the results later on. After 40 to 45 minutes, my VMs are fully protected and healthy. So let's switch to Visual Studio Code and open the failback script. So the failback script is essentially the same, except that I'm adding a parameter for the DR VMs resource group, specifying that my VMs are now in the central US resource group, and that now I'm requiring the primary staging storage account, meaning in EastUS2, because I'm going back to my original source region. Notice also that in line 50, my primary fabric is in the recovery region, meaning central US, and my recovery fabric is for my primary region. And last but not least, on line 68, the direction is from recovery to primary. So let's execute the failback script and validate the results and wrap up this tutorial. All right, let's take a look at the central US resource group, and now you no longer see the load balancer because the script checks if the load balancer exists, and if it does, then it deletes to save on cost because for obvious reason I'm failing back. You might see that the VMs are still showing on the portal in central US, but eventually they get deleted. Going back to the load balancer in EastUS2 resource group in the insights blade, you see that my VMs are back online and accessible. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned how to use PowerShell and automation accounts to automate and improve your disaster recovery strategy. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you get notified when I upload new content. Keep it up and keep learning new things. See you in the next time.